And welcome back to the Facebook ads training. And it's finally time. It's here. We are going to create and launch our first Facebook test campaigns. And in order to do that, I'm assuming that you've done a few things already. One, I'm assuming you already have a Facebook Business Manager account. Two, I'm assuming that you've already successfully put the Facebook pixel on your website. And three, I'm assuming that you've already created out your different warm and or cold traffic audiences in the audience section of Facebook. If you haven't done those three things, stop what you're doing because you're not going to be able to create the campaigns that we're about to create. Go back, watch those modules, do that homework, and then come back when those are done and we'll get you all set up and launched. For now, if you've done all of those things, what we're going to do is go to your menu and navigate to where we are right now, which is under Create and Manage, and then Ads Manager. If you've already run Facebook campaigns, this is where all of your campaigns will be housed. You'll notice up at the top there are campaigns, something called ad sets, and then ads. Each campaign has multiple ad sets, or at least one ad set, which is kind of like an ad group, so all of your targeting and your ads. And that's where the individual ads will sort of live, is within the ad set. What we are going to do is create an ad campaign from scratch designed to generate conversions within your website. To do that, we're going to start with this green Create button, and then we're going to start from scratch. So here's what your first option is. Facebook gives you all of these marketing objectives that you can do. So down the road, you can create like engagement campaigns or just brand awareness campaigns. But for most of us within the course advertising, course sales space, we want to stick to the conversions section, or the conversion objective. So this is going to tell Facebook the type of campaign and the type of results that you're looking to drive from this. So we want to tell Facebook we want to drive conversions. And now what we're going to do is name our campaign. What I like to do is, first of all, name the objective of the campaign. So for us, if we're creating a campaign that will get our lead magnet downloads, I'm going to call it lead magnet. And then is it warm or cold? In this case, it's a cold audience we're going to create. And then what type of targeting are we going to use, or what type of campaign are we going to create? So this is going to be image campaign or image ads. Hit continue. Now you notice on the left-hand side, we've created our campaign and set the objective. What we're going through now is creating the ad set. For that, we're going to dictate the conversion, create our audience placements, all that type of thing, and then finally create the ad. So those are the steps that we have yet to do. Next thing we're going to do is name the ad set. So we've named the campaign. Now what are we going to name this ad set? So this depends on the audience that you are targeting, but you want to have a similar naming convention. So lead magnet, cold, and this will be an interest campaign, or interest targeting, rather. So the very next thing you need to do is tell Facebook what is the specific conversion that you want to drive. This is where, because we've already created Facebook pixels or loaded the Facebook pixel on our website, we get to pick the conversion event. In this case, since we're driving downloads of our playbook, we want the subscribe action. So I'm telling Facebook, go out and find as many people that are most likely to subscribe to our newsletter or download our playbook. From there, I want you guys to ignore for now dynamic creative and offer, and instead go down to audience. This is where you have the option to create a new audience, just like we did a couple modules ago, or use a saved audience. If you want to create a new one, you'll notice all of these steps are pretty familiar. Add your targeting. You can figure out, or you can limit this by age or narrow this down by gender, just like we did. However, if you've done your homework, or if you've already created those audiences, you'll find them under Use a Saved Audience, in which case there's our interest-based audience with all of the different qualifiers that we created. If I wanted to go back and let's say this was going to be, well, first of all, I can make any edits that I want if I wanted to. Or I can sort of delete this altogether or create a new one, so on and so forth. However, you should note that you're only using one audience per ad set here. So you're not able to do a warm and cold targeting at the same time. We're just using one of those. If instead I wanted to create test campaign for my warm audiences, remember under custom, you click into custom audiences and I have the lookalikes that I've created. I've got my email lists or customer lists that I've already got in here. So on and so forth. I've also got that website retargeting list. All of these I can create or use at my disposal because we've already created these in the past. Let's go back to, and let's say I'm creating that. Remember, I'm using a cold audience and it's interest targeting, which I've already got. Now we're good to go to the next part, which is select the placements where you want your ads to show. For now, especially when you're creating test campaigns, I want you guys to select edit placements and opt out of everything except for Facebook news feeds. We want, especially in the testing phase, to have the most control we have. We don't want to spread ourselves too thin across all of these different messenger types and everything, unless you have a creative that you know is going to crush it, like on Instagram or something. Let's really test things out with just Facebook ad feeds, both on desktop and on mobile. So opt out of everything except for Facebook news feeds. Then scroll down, and now we get to pick our budget and our schedule. Leave this at conversions because we're already good to go. Let's now figure out what our budget is going to be for the day. And so this really depends on what your budget is, how much you're charging for your course. A lot of decisions go into this. So I'm going to give you guys high-level advice, but this is really up to you what you want to select. I think that to do a test budget or a test campaign, about $25 a day is going to give you enough data to start to make some intelligent optimizations after about a week or so. If you have less than 25, then it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, or you're going to have them in this testing phase for a little bit longer. Now, keep in mind, you're going to set this times each audience that you're targeting. So if you only have, say, $100 a day, this would be a quarter of my budget that I wanted to allocate toward this. So keep in mind, this isn't the only thing that we're creating, but do keep in mind that if you're going to create 4 or 5 different ad sets or 4 or 5 different campaigns, then you want to adjust your daily budget accordingly. Remember, this is just for that campaign. I should note, this is just for this one cold audience campaign, this $25. Next is you can actually control when you want your ads to turn on. Do you want them to start running right now as soon as you start, or do you want to have it turn on and off at a certain time? I would keep it as run continuously unless you have like a specific offer that you're doing, or maybe you're doing a specific course launch or a promotion for your course that starts and ends on a certain time or day of the week. Just know that you have that option, but for now, as we're creating test campaigns, let's just leave it at run continuously. Last couple of things are the conversion window. Do you want to measure conversions only after one day, the same day that they click, or give them up to 7 days to convert? I think that you just leave it as this default. Down the road, we can experiment with different things, but just for simplicity's sake, leave this at kind of the default setting. Last but not least, so once you're done with all of that, check your settings, make sure you've got everything set up correctly. And now we're about ready to create our ad. We're creating an image ad here, and notice that the first thing I'm going to do is upload an image. So if during the add image section, you've already uploaded those to your library, you can do so here. So here are all of the here's the library of all the different images that we have that we can create ads off of. If I wanted to go back to Shutterstock and use one of those pre-prepared images or whatnot, I can absolutely do that. Remember, like work from the beach. And I can use any of these images. If I want to go back to this image that I liked from last time, I can quickly and easily just sort of upload that. I just select it and click continue, and that will upload that. But since I am creating an ad specifically to drive conversions for our playbook, I'm going to select our playbook image. Now I'm good to go. Scroll down. Here's where I then put in the text, the website URL, the headline, and then the call to action. So let's do each one of those in turn. What I have already done is I've already created a Google Doc sheet that has all of the different ad copy that I've created. And I haven't just created one ad copy. I created multiple versions of ad copy based on the best practices and principles that we went over in that module. So all I need to do is, if I wanted to use, say, this copy, is drag that into the text. Now I select my website URL. Select my headline. And then my call to action. Now the call to action affects the button that you have over here. So I don't want this to say learn more. Remember, I want them to download. So I'm going to click this and find download. Then I'm good to go. I can review this. If I want to see what this will look like on, say, a desktop feed versus a mobile feed, I can do so. Once I'm happy with it, then I just click confirm. Once I click confirm, it then publishes your ad, your campaign, and your ad set. So let's go back to Ads Manager and see what that looks like. It'll look like this. So we'll go back to, this is our lead magnet cold. This is from a lookalike audience. So if we drill into this with our image ads, you'll see we have one ad set for cold audience. When I drill back into this, I then see that I can create multiple ads. You notice that we've actually got not just one ad, we've got multiple ads that we can run for that cold audience. And what we want to do is do enough of a test, do enough A/B testing so that we can figure out what is working and what's really resonating with our target market and what's not. So my advice to you guys is this: for as many audiences as you've selected, create a campaign and an ad set for each one of those audiences, and then create at least 2 ads for each audience. Make sure you pick an image that's congruent with all the best practices we went over in that module. Make sure you select ad text that's congruent with all of that, all the best practices from that module. But once you've got that done, now you're ready to click, save, and launch. Now, know that when you save them, it goes through a review process from Facebook, which can take up to 24 hours. Once Facebook reviews and approves all your ads, then your ads will start running. I can, however, have control over any one of these. So if I want to turn this one off, I just simply click this, and that turns off all the ad sets and all the ads within that campaign. If I want to flip it back on, I can do so just like that. So even if you're not planning on running all of your test campaigns all at once, you can still have them all in here and turn them off and on as you're ready. That's all there is to it, folks. Stick to that conversion-based campaign. Go through the process of setting up your test campaigns, and let's let them run for a little bit. In the next couple modules, we're going to talk about how we go through and optimize, and then how we hopefully scale once we found a winning combination that works for us.